Okay, we're at the Catholic Men's Conference, and I'm talking to Dave Dionisi of Children of Compassion. Dave, tell us about Children of Compassion.
Children of Compassion is an organization that rescues orphaned and disabled children in Africa and sends them to school. And we can do this on average for about $228 a year. We can get a child in school, and it's a life-changing experience for a child to go to school.
Now, when you talk about children who are rescued, you're talking about children who are orphaned due to illness, due to in the family, due to wars, due to how do these children get orphaned?
Right now, we have 200 children that are Ebola orphans. During the 2014 Ebola epidemic, quite a few children lost not only their parents, but their entire families. I was in Liberia at the time, running an Ebola quarantine, and we prayed the Holy Rosary and experienced a rosary miracle. It was quite amazing, and from that point forward, I've been praying the Holy Rosary every day. But I came home from that experience motivated to try to help these children go to school. I personally have been working in West Africa for 16 years now. Back in 2003, I started a program to care for war orphans in that country. And what makes me really excited about this new program is we have some of our children who have gone through the program now with good educations, working to help pay forward the kindness that they received.
Now, how vital in West Africa, where you are, where you're operating, how much of a difference, I mean, does that education mean? Because again, here in America, people go to public school and so forth, and they don't understand the concept of being completely without an education.
In Liberia, many times the parents are praying that just one child in the family will be able to get an education. If you have a family that's maybe 5 or 6 children, and the parents know that none of the children are going to school, then they know the cycle of poverty is going to be repeated. And that cycle of poverty in places like Liberia means not being able to eat 3 meals a day. The typical family in Liberia right now eats once a day. It's not very nutritious, and children very often go to bed hungry. What gives them hope for a better future is the knowledge, knowing that one child is going to be educated, because that one child can then be the link to helping other children in the family live in a way that has the dignity that God desires for all of us.
And this is education that takes place in Liberia. It's not like you're not bringing them to America or something. You're educating them there where they can, and so they can thrive there.
The best schools in Liberia are the Catholic schools. The Catholic schools there don't compare to schools here in the United States. Our resources, the level of education of our teachers here, they're just significantly greater. But they are still good schools. And our focus is to try to get students to have really usable skills, things like plumbing, things like carpentry, automotive repair. These are skills where you can be employed for a lifetime. The more kind of academic psychology and degrees like that in Liberia are much harder to turn into a meaningful occupation for your family, because the unemployment rate right now is somewhere around 85%. What happened after the Ebola epidemic is the economy was hit really hard. So our prayer is, and goal right now, is to get all 200 of the Ebola orphans that we have waiting to go to school in school in August. And so we're trying to raise $228 per year for each of those children to go to school.
And you have an example of one of these. And for those of you listening on the radio, obviously you won't be able to see this, but if you look at the video of this, you'll be able to. Here's one of the children in the Diocese of Monrovia at the Immaculate Conception Parish, and is a 6-year-old who's born in 2012 with one brother and one sister, and there's no support for him to go to school, and his future without an education. What is the prospect for a person like this young boy, or young girl, I should say, in Liberia if they don't get an education? What will that future be?
Well, Esther is 7 now, and what will happen is they will very likely be forced to live only off of small farming that they do.
Subsistence farming.
Subsistence farming. And the life expectancy is typically 20 years less than here in the United States. They'll go their whole life without ever seeing a doctor. They'll go their whole life without ever seeing a dentist. Liberia has a population of about 5 million people, and they have about 153 doctors in the country.
153 doctors for 5 million people.
Yes. So when you get sick there, unless you're a wealthy person, you probably will never see a doctor.
So, and of course, if you're subsistence farming, you can't take the time to even hope to do so anyways.
That's right. And we work with schools. We have a wonderful program to help schools learn about global citizenship and learn about life outside our country. And it makes the students really appreciative of what we have. Like yesterday I was just talking to someone about if we get sick, typically we can call an ambulance and within 10 minutes or so get help. Well, in Liberia, if you're critically ill, that doesn't exist. You may have to be carried for 1 or 2 days by foot to a nearby clinic, or to the closest clinic, which is not nearby. But they would be so happy to have that kind of ambulance type service, and we take it for granted. It wasn't that long ago. I was in a school in California. It was the Our Lady of Visitation School in San Francisco, and the kids were talking about brushing their teeth. Sometimes I've got 4 kids. Sometimes our kids don't want to brush their teeth, right? Well, in Liberia, brushing your teeth is a real. It's something that's really valued because they don't have toothpaste, and when they brush their teeth, they use charcoal from the fire because their parents are too poor to buy toothpaste. So you'll see kids take a piece of charcoal and rub it against their teeth. And because we have the technology at Children of Compassion for the students to interact with each other, and curriculum built around that, the kids are saying, wow, I take for granted the fact that we have clean, healthy water, that we have electricity, that we have toothpaste, that if we get sick we can go to a doctor. And our kids are a lot more grateful for what they have. So it tends to deepen their understanding of their world, and it also helps them see how the Catholic Church is the greatest source of good in the world, because they're seeing real world examples of children being saved and given this hope for a better future.
I mean, that's pro-life to the max, frankly. That is what you're doing is the definition of pro-life. You're giving people a life beyond just hand to mouth, beyond barely surviving.
And if any of your listeners would like, I would be happy to send or get them a free copy of this book, Paying Forward Kindness, which is the story of Benjamin Wohler, who was one of these poor children who obtained a college degree. He tells the stories of surviving Liberia's war as a child soldier, his stories of surviving the Ebola epidemic, and now how he uses all the kindness that he received to rescue children, orphaned and disabled children in Liberia. It's a wonderful book. It's available free from our website, childrenofcompassion.org. I'm also happy to send a copy to people if they contact me.
And to contact them, just to go to childrenofcompassion.org?
Yes.
Well, it would be an understatement, Dave, to say that you and yours are doing God's work. Thank you so much for your time, and the best of luck. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, if you were looking for something to do with that spare money, that spare dinner that you might, if you want to skip one meal out, even from McDonald's or something, kicking a few bucks here, I can't think of something more worthy. Thank you.
God bless you.